Hello, welcome to How to Play DreadBall Part 3. In this part we're going to cover some of the basic mechanics. First of all, we're going to discuss actions. At the start of your turn you're given 5 action tokens. That basically means that you can do 5 things that turn. You can only spend up to 2 on any one player. And since you have 6 players usually on the board at any given time, that means somebody probably isn't going to be able to do anything that turn, so you have to think very carefully about who you're spending your actions on. There are ways to generate more actions, or free actions, but we'll come to those later. You'll notice the 2 piles of 3 dice here. This is because most things that you'll want to do in the game require a test that usually starts on 3 dice. Some people get more dice for the tests depending on if it's something they're specialised at. For example, a striker picking the ball up. They're very skilled at that, so they would get an extra dice for that test. There are ways to lose dice as well. For example, if you're doing it right next to an enemy player, you may lose a dice to represent it being more difficult with somebody right there. And to determine whether you succeed or not, you'll find that your players have stats. For example, speed 4+. This means that when you need to take a speed test, you need to achieve 1 4+ on the dice. So for example, if I roll these 3 dice, I got 1 4+, so that would be a success. So you can see why having more dice is beneficial. With quite a few of the tests, there are benefits to doubling the required success. For example, if I had rolled a 4 and a 5, that would be twice the amount that I needed, so there may be a bonus associated with that. In some cases it might be a free action for that player. When making an opposed check against each other, for example one of these players slammed into the other, you would roll the dice and then whoever had the most successes would be the winner. And again, there are bonuses if you double. So if you get double the score your opponent does, something good is going to happen. In the case of a slam, it would be pushing your opponent back, knocking him over, and maybe injuring him. So I'm going to play out a couple of examples here. Let's say, for example, this guard, this orc guard, is going to slam into the corporation guard here. They'll start off with 3 dice. However, because they're guards, and slamming is right up their alley, they'll get a bonus dice. Also, this orc will get another bonus because he moved into the slam to represent the extra momentum. So in this case we're 5 dice against 4, so let's see what they come up with. Slamming is a strength-based test, and the orc guard has a strength of 3+. So we can see he's got 3 successes out of the 5 dice. The corporation guard isn't quite as strong, so he needs 4 pluses. He has 2. But this is a very opportune time to tell you about something else: exploding 6s. Every time you roll a 6 in a test, that counts as a success, and you roll it again and try and get another. But that failed. But let's just say I rolled another 6. I could keep going on and on and on until I stop rolling 6s. So even if a test seems like it's impossible, because you're horribly outmatched, just by rolling 6s you can still come out on top. Now in the example we're doing, the corporation guard had 2 successes, the orc had 3. That means the orc wins. He hasn't doubled him though, so all he can do is push him back. So he's going to push him to there, and then he has the option of whether he wants to follow up into that hex there, which he is going to do. Now, had the orc got 4 successes to the other guard's 2, that would have been double, so the bonus would have been he could push him back and knock him down. In this situation, the guard would then take however many dice he lost by, which is 2, and that would be how many turns that he has to spend off in the sin bin, unless he can pass some armor tests. So, let's roll the guard's armor test. Again, you start with 3 typically for everybody, but since he's a guard, they're the extra tough players, so they would get another 1, just boosting their chances of success. For every success on this roll, that's going to reduce the turn that he spends off injured by 1. So, he's going to be completely fine. I don't even need to roll those exploding 6s because I've already got as much as I can. Now he's still going to be down, but he's not off the board. Another example of a test, this striker here is going to try and pick up the ball. Now, he can move 5 as the basic movement. That's pretty much the same for all these players here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to attempt to pick the ball up, which 3 dice as always, but he's going to get another 1 because strikers are very good at handling the ball. Picking up the ball is a skill-based test, and the striker's skill is 4+. That means I'm going to need 1 successful roll of 4 or more on one of these dice to pick up the ball. And I got 2. Now, as you know, getting double what you require can lead to a bonus. In this case, that will result in a free action for this player. That won't come out of your action tokens, and it doesn't count towards the amount of actions that he can take in a turn. So he can now potentially get 3 actions in 1 turn. Had he failed to pick the ball up utterly, rolling nothing but low numbers, then the ball would scatter. So I'm going to show you how that works now. You need 1 dice to scatter the ball. It's very simple, because obviously with a hex system, there are 6 hexes surrounding him, 1 being straightforward, and then you work round in a clockwise manner. So, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to go straight behind him, and then you roll to see how far it goes. 1 dice. 2. So, 1, 2. In a situation like that, where you lose control of the ball, that automatically ends your turn, regardless of how many action tokens you have left. So, if you're going for some risky ball handling, you're better off getting your players into position and doing slam actions first, before you go for the ball. That concludes the basic mechanics. Next time we're going to go over the different kinds of player movements.